So, what kind of business needs a lawyer? So, is it every business that needs a lawyer? Because some people just sell something by the roadside. Do they need a lawyer? So, some have supermarkets. So, what type of business needs a lawyer?
The need for you having a lawyer would depend on the plans you have for your business. It may be maybe extravagant to say, oh, someone who just sells maybe roasted corn by the roadside or something, she needs a lawyer and so on and so forth. But there are numerous factors that can affect your need for having legal back. Countries that are much more developed than Nigeria, almost every Jack and Jerry has access to legal representation because they know how important it is to have legal backing in whatever they are doing. But I imagine that, a very large number, of people who would probably be watching this video at the end of this program would be people who intend to start a business, and people who, want to run a business and so on. So I would just like to, restrict some of the answers to that area. If you know where you are going and you know the plans you have for your business, then you need to have a lawyer. Any business that cares about the short and long-term goals, that you have for your business. Short-term goals in the interim, like, okay, this is how you want to set up, this is how you want to progress. Long-term goals in that, okay, this is what you want to do when you are 5 years down the line, when you are 10 years down the line, this is how you want to progress, and so on. In Nigeria, generally, there are different types of businesses that you can open. You can operate as a sole proprietorship, you can operate as a partnership, and you can operate as a company. So if you're a sole proprietor now, you know that you may need to get some licenses, you may need to get some agreements in place, you may need to understand tax laws, you may need to understand how to set up your business, what benefits accrue to you being a sole proprietor. If it's a partnership, you want to know how you are able to relate with your partners, right? You want to know your benefits, your roles and responsibilities. And of course, if it's a company, in Nigeria, the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, that's the regulation that deals with setting up businesses in Nigeria. Under CAMA, you can have a private company and you can have a public company. A lawyer is someone who would advise you on, okay, this is the way to go. Set up a private company based on this. Set up a public company based on this. If you set up a private company, this is what you get. Set up a public company, this is what you get. So depending on your own plans, your long-term and short-term goals, then you'll be able to determine, oh, I think I need a lawyer badly. But generally, I would advise that all businesses should have lawyers because it never hurts. For example, this morning, the person who called me was someone I met like some 3 months ago, and he just wanted to know, tax implications in Lagos regarding some particular things. So yes, if you have a lawyer, maybe someone on retainer, maybe someone you can always call, just call them and, I'm trying to set up a business, tell them. Of course, pay them because people tend to want to take advantage of, relationships and all. But yes.
Though I've seen some lawyer do tax and all that. So, but do you advise that someone should actually use a lawyer for tax or you just get a tax consultant?
There are different types of lawyers. There are criminal lawyers. There are lawyers who deal with IP. There are lawyers who deal with tax. Most lawyers deal with a number of things, but at the most basic level, every lawyer can give you a level of advice on company business, right? But there are just some very particular details, that tax lawyers, like you said, can be very particular. We have capital gains tax, CGT. We have, there are so many different tax that you may need to pay, and you don't want to run foul of the law. You don't want the law to now catch up with you later and then say, oh, you've not been paying your tax, or you've not been filing annual returns in the case of a public company, and so on and so forth. So when you have a lawyer, the lawyer can advise you that if you set up a company like this is what you will get. If you set up a company like this is what you get. If this is what you are bringing in, this is what you get. I'll give you an example. For foreign companies who are coming into Nigeria, right, there are a number of incentives that they can undertake. For example, there's something we call pioneer status, right? So pioneer status is if you're a foreign company that's coming to Nigeria and the kind of product or the kind of business you are coming to do is something that no one is doing in Nigeria and is of interest to national development, you get pioneer status. It's one of the incentives that you get. And under pioneer status, you're not going to be paying tax for about 5 years, right? So if you are a foreign company who is just coming into Nigeria and you don't have the right legal knowledge or someone to advise you, you can just go and set up some random company and then for the first 2-3 years, you won't be able to tap into those incentives that being a foreign company who is doing this kind of thing may be able to tap into.
So I want you to briefly tell us, because you've been mentioning we should get a lawyer, but for some of us that don't really have the funds, because when people hear a lawyer, they will be like, hey, too much money. I don't even have the money to to run my business. Where do I want to get the money to get a lawyer? So what advice will you give those kind of people? What can they do to actually tap into the expertise of a lawyer without actually spending Dangote money?
I think it depends on a number of factors. And one of the things is the type of lawyer. Then two, the type of company, right? So I mentioned the type of lawyer because people are more inclined to go and meet lawyers who are just starting out, young lawyers, because they feel that, oh, maybe this person will not charge me well, this person will not charge me high, but I can still get enough, and stuff like that. The most important thing is that you pay your lawyer the fees he or she is due. If your lawyer says the fee for doing this thing is 500K, pay the lawyer. If you want to register your company and then the lawyer is telling you, I register my company's 100K, I register my company's 50K, I register my company's 200K, pay the lawyer and let the lawyer get it sorted. There's always a lawyer for everyone. There's always, if you meet someone who will do 500K, the reason why the person is doing it for 500K is different from the reason why someone is doing it for 200K. There are different ways lawyers charge. For someone like me now, if I'm going to charge you, I will charge you based on my experience in the profession. I will charge you based on, the kind of person that you are and the quality of work that you want to do. You cannot be telling me, oh, I should sell land 100 million now, for example, and then say, okay, you want to pay lawyer 10K. It's not done because if you are buying a land for 100 million, you know that you need solid legal research. You can't afford that transaction, cannot afford to fail. You can't buy land for 100. See what is happening in Abuja now. The minister of the FCC has said, oh, they are going to be like demolishing some houses because you don't move into the plan. If those people that built those houses have contacted lawyers that have done solid research with the Federal Capital Development Authority, they won't be suffering those issues now. And that's one of the reasons why you should pay a lawyer, because the lawyer will do research. The lawyer will go and check the root of the land. He will check the root of the house. He will ensure that 10 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, you are safe. There is no legal issue that will happen. There won't be any litigation matter that will happen on the land. Someone cannot just come and say, oh, you've built land on the road. You've built land where it's not part of the plan of the state. So all of these things, you need someone to help you set up. If you are not coming business, if you're just starting, for example, maybe the only thing you need is just maybe lease agreement or maybe your employee contract. Meet someone who help you draft the contract. The lawyer tells you, okay, this is how much you pay. Pay the lawyer and move on.
What you mean is that we can pay them per contract, not that we pay them like on a retainer. Is that something?
No, it depends on the relationship. It depends on the professional relationship you have with the lawyer. There are some people that they have lawyers on retainer. People like the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed CFR. Do you think he won't have a lawyer on retainer?
So when we say, for those that don't know, when we say retainer, that means you are paying them on a monthly basis.
You are paying them. They are your person. It can be general retainer, it can be specific retainer. If you pay me, if you have me on retainer, it means that if you call me 2 a.m. in the morning, I am at your service. If you call me 5 p.m. in the evening, I'm at your service. If you have any business, I am your lawyer. You call me, the law. I have land to buy so and so. And then I tell you, okay, send me the details. Come and meet me in my office. Let's discuss. That's what thing. When you have me on retainer, I am like your personal lawyer. That's what a retainer is. You can also pay on contract. Say, okay, I give you this land agreement to help me draft. I give you this land agreement to help me do. You can pay me based on that transaction. It all depends on the relationship between you and the lawyer. If the lawyer charges you, if the lawyer says, okay, have me on retainer. If it's 10 million you want to pay for my retainer per year, no problem. But if you say, okay, I want this based on transaction, when I conduct the transaction, I pay you, then depending on what you can afford,